94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city. Juan Castillo with you on the workforce, of course. And I have with me Connecticut State Treasurer Shawn Wooden on the air right now. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, I'm always good when I'm with you, Juan.
There you go. There you go. So listen, we're going to talk a little bit about, also everything that's happening, up at the treasurer's office. You got some great, exciting things that you're doing. But let's talk about, the vaccinations. All right. Hartford Healthcare, of course, is, doing some great things up in the city of Hartford, and actually all over the state.
All over.
Yeah. So first of all, have you taken the vaccine?
I have. I made a pledge even before the vaccine was available that when it would become available, that I was going to take it publicly. And I did that.
Right. So tell me, what's the vaccine hesitancy? But, there are other factors that contribute to low vaccinations among communities of color. What do you think those are?
Right. So we have talked a lot about vaccine hesitancy, right? And we know the history of Black people, brown people with the medical establishment, right? Many of us are suspicious. We've had the Tuskegee experiment. In Puerto Rico, you've had folks experimenting on Puerto Rican women. So there's a lot that goes into that. And we have our present day treatment with the healthcare system, right? And so all of that produces this hesitancy and reluctance and distrust. So trying to address that, and which we can talk more about. But in addition to that, one of the number one issues right now is not just hesitancy, but access and the ability to actually get the vaccine. Now, Connecticut, we've been doing a pretty good job, right? And
number one in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have at least 70% of eligible residents have had at least one shot, right? That's in national leader category, right? But what we have to make sure is that communities of color, that we increase those numbers and vulnerable populations. And that's what's so critically important. And so when access, we got to meet people where they are. And right, you get into issues of transportation.
Yes.
You get into issues of technology and scheduling and trying to go online and do all of that. All of that has been a challenge. But through the good work of Hartford Healthcare and many others, we now have pop-up clinics, right? We're meeting people where they are, going into the heart of our communities, right? And we now have no appointment necessary. Walk in,
yes,
right? And don't worry about doing the stuff online. We'll get it done, right? So there's a very robust effort at meeting people where they are. I was down in Danbury a week or two ago at a FEMA mobile vaccine clinic put in the community, and this thing moves. So they set up, boom, 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 do a few days of vaccination. They will come back, right, depending on the vaccine they have, either 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later for the second shot. But those types of initiatives are critically important in terms of reaching people and making it easier to access the vaccine, while at the same time we address very much the vaccine hesitancy issue amongst many in our community.
Yeah, and I mean the monies that we've been getting from the federal government are fueling this effort. So because people like, hey, we got this new budget, that just jumped off in Washington towards that.
Yep.
And that's finally trickling down to Connecticut, that allows us to be able to do this, and people need to know that, right? That yes, go ahead.
Yes. We are getting plenty of resources now to have the vaccine available at multiple locations. So plenty of resources, plenty of vaccine available. We just need to get it into people's arms, right? And to meet that. But we have ample supply, and for all of those, right? First of all, we got to save lives. We got to save lives. Let's talk about the Black community. Black community have been getting infected at higher rates,
and dying.
hospitalized at higher rates, and dying at higher rates.
That's right.
Right. So this is about life and death, and saving lives in our community. So for those of you, so that's real important to a lot of us, right? Saving lives and the quality of our lives. But for those of you who want to get back to your normal, quote unquote, normal lives, right? My message to you is that the quickest way we're going to get back to something that looks like what used to be normal is the more of us that get vaccinated. You know, and I will tell you, I had my best Mother's Day ever this past Mother's Day. And the reason being is my mother's she's 92. She's in a nursing home. And I have not been able to visit with her in her room to give her a hug in over a year.
Wow.
And this Mother's Day, because she's fully vaccinated and immunized, because I am fully vaccinated, that's 2 shots plus 14 days afterwards, and immunized, we were able to visit with one another for the first time again and to hug. And I told folks, I don't remember the last time my mother hugged me that long and that hard, right? But that was a beautiful Mother's Day. And that's the power of getting vaccinated. That's gonna, our ability to go out to restaurants more comfortably, to just bring our lives back. And those who are taking longer, right? And I'm not talking about if you've got medical reasons, you've got those things.
Yes.
Or, and we've got to make sure we educate people, right? And I say I got a 3-prong approach here. One is, we got to validate. Like, I get it. And we got to acknowledge that this ain't out of nowhere. There is a reason why we are distrustful, right? 2, we got to educate with more information about, dealing with some of the myths around the vaccine, right? And thinking like, whoa, that was developed too fast. Or I don't know who's behind it. Or I don't know. Here's the deal. It was developed faster because more resources were put into it, right? So if you typically work 5 hours a day and in a week you got 5 days and you get 25 hours of output, right? You double that to work 10 hours a day. And that's what they did with the vaccine.
Yeah.
And put more resources in it. They closed that time. The other thing, the technology, the science around the vaccine development is actually not brand new.
That's right.
It's stuff that they've been working on a while.
Yes.
With the general coronavirus, and that they were able to deploy to this. Third thing is, question, well, were Black people, people of color in the studies? The answer is yes, that there was very much a representative sampling in that. Fourth thing I'll say is that there were lots of people, the same amount that are typically in these studies, to get a good sample size. Fifth thing I will say is that there were Black people involved, right? One of the lead scientists out of Yale.
That's right.
David, involved, assisted.
That's right. That's
in
right.
This development. In the FDA approval process for emergency use authorization, there's an advisory panel. There was representation, right?
Wow.
So this is a different ball game. This was developed following all of the standard protocols and testing. And now millions and millions of people have been vaccinated in the world. And we have a large sample size. And so this is safe and highly effective, more effective than the flu vaccine, right? At 94% effectiveness, right? Flu vaccine is in the 60-something percent, right? This is powerful stuff. This is a game changer for our communities. And, we got to get it. We got to get it.
And we see it, I mean, the thing is that we see it, right? It's like before the vaccination, you were sitting in your house. You couldn't come out of your house.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly
without
right.
taking a chance, right? The state is opening up. Why is it opening up? It's because of the vaccinations. there's no doubt about that, right?
Yeah.
And so you're on point on all those points. You started with 3, but you went through about 5 or 6, my brother. But thank you so much, man. I love that. I've been vaccinated. Got my second shot. It's been way over 14 days. I had a great, opportunity to be with my family. We were all together, all of us vaccinated. It was a beautiful thing. So listen,
Yeah.
let's find. So what's going on at the Treasury department here in the States? You got some great
So,
programs. Talk to me about that.
and we got a lot going on, and in the midst of
Yes,
the pandemic, it's my job to make sure we pay our bills every day.
that's
And
right.
so we had that going on, and we continue to do that. In
Yes,
our state has been very resilient, kind of coming through this, and just in terms of managing the dollars. In terms of the initiatives and some priority pieces right now,
yes.
I have introduced legislation to create what's called Connecticut baby bonds. And
Wow.
this is to close the income and wealth disparity gap in our state and to deal with racial equity as well as economic growth in our state by creating accounts for every poor baby born in our state. And these accounts would be seeded with $5,000
Wow.
and would grow over a period of at least 18 years where this money would be invested by my office during
Wow.
this period of time. And when you get older, in order to get the funds, you have to have financial literacy, education or training, right? So
Okay.
you don't just get a check, but you have that training. You have to be a Connecticut resident,
Yes.
and you can use it for education, to invest in purchase a home in Connecticut,
Wow.
to invest in a business in Connecticut, or for retirement security of some sort. And those areas, the reason they're the focus is because those are some of the largest drivers of the wealth gap in our society, and trying to address that and level the playing field, because no matter what zip code you're born in, you should have a fair shot and a fair opportunity at life. And that's what I'm trying to address with this
That's
bill.
amazing.
And it's House Bill 6659, and trying to get that over the finish line. It made it out of the Appropriations Committee.
Good.
And shout out to New Haven's Representative Tony Walker, who's the
Nice.
co-chair of the Appropriations Committee. But there's a lot of support, and I want to make that happen. This is the time for us to have bold solutions that are transformative for our community. And so that's one of my top priorities this legislative session. Another one is going back to financial literacy, is that I don't think there's any kid that should come out of high school, a Connecticut high school, and not know how to balance a checkbook, not know
On
how to
point.
manage a credit card, not
Wow.
know, what a mortgage is,
Yes.
not know. And it's criminal that we have such a high proportion of Connecticut students graduating without those financial skills. And that is something that I would like to see change in our state, and I put forward legislation to do that. And hopefully we can get that accomplished. And I will note, my first year in office in 2019, I went on an economic empowerment listening tour. And my first stop was a workshop, professional development for financial literacy teachers in the state, right? And these are local school districts where they have this requirement.
Right.
Walked away, one of the observations, aside from them being tremendously committed to this space and this work, was that it were mostly from suburban school districts, wealthy school districts, predominantly white school districts. So when we talk about equity and disparities, we are missing out in terms of many urban communities, many less well-off communities, right? And the financial literacy or illiteracy, poverty, right, actually knows no skin color. And now I'll close with you on this point, going back to baby bonds.
Yes.
There's a disproportionate number of Black and brown folks in poverty in our state. But the state Medicaid program, Husky,
Yes.
which we're using say if you're on Husky, that means you're meeting the poverty standard by our state. There are families in every one of our 169 towns in Connecticut who are on this program, right? So every town, and 62% roughly are white, right? So that's why I say it really is about fighting it's about fighting generational poverty, and changing that trajectory. And so we got a lot of work
Yeah.
to do.
Well, some Treasurer Wooden, it's interesting that you said that about the financial literacy, because if I'm in high school and I understand money as such, right, that's going to motivate me to do well in school and to make
Yep,
sure that I pay attention to my education, because the connection a lot of times is like, okay, how am I going to make money? Oh, I'm going to play basketball. I'm going to go to NFL, or I'm going to become an artist, right? I'm going to become a radio personality for that matter, right? Versus, okay, like, I understand money now. I understand what that's all about, right? And I can get that by getting a good education and going into a field that's going to pay me. But now I know what to do with the money, right?
exactly.
And that is really what it's all about. People, you got to give people hope. And
Yep.
why not give those students in high school hope from the beginning, right? And your programs are addressing that. I want to let everybody know, right? Please get in contact with your legislators, because these programs that the state treasurer has, in there, are going to get passed if the legislators think that you want them.
That's
Because
right.
that's democracy, right? It's about you getting in contact with them. It's not just when they getting elected that you want to communicate, right? You got to communicate while they're up there and they're getting ready to pass these bills that are going to affect your life, right? And so I want you again to tell me about those two bills and how people can get involved.
Yeah. So one is a bill making financial literacy a
Yes.
high school graduation requirement. The other is Connecticut baby bonds. And you should call your legislators.
Yes.
Let them know that they need the support. Call the governor's office. Let them know that they need his support if we're going to make this happen. But we are going through a lot as a state and a nation right now, and this pandemic has shown so many people the significant disparities occurring in our society, the significant pain, and we need legislation. We need policy that meets this moment. We need policy that meets this moment right now, and that's what I'm trying to promote. And we have an opportunity to do this. But to your point, it doesn't get done without the governor and legislators hearing from constituents.
That's right.
That we want this, we need this, and so make those calls.
My brother, I want to thank you for coming on. This is extremely important information. Of course, our main focus today was on the vaccinations. Thank you so much for giving us your perspective. I think that, it's not about, us trying to convince anybody to do something that they don't want to do, right? It's about us giving up the information and educating folks so that they can do what's best for them and the community. And that's pretty much it, right? We're doing 2 vaccinations on the green, vaccination clinics on the green on Wednesday and Thursday from 3 to 5. We're going to be there down at the New Haven Green. We're going to have some music and all of that, so we're trying to do the best we can here at YBC towards that. My brother, please, you got an open door situation here at YBC. Anytime that you need us, any information that you need to get out to the community, please get in contact with me and let's do this again. All right. And I mean, and the other thing is that, I'm okay with you being a Boston Celtics fan, man. You all right. as family, y'all know I'm a Knicks fan, so it was hard for me to get him on the air because he a Boston, but that's my brother right there. State Treasurer Shawn Wooden, thank you so much, man, for coming on the air with us, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Juan, and WYBC. Keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Absolutely. Juan Castillo with you. This is the Workforce right here on the Rhythm of the City, 94.3 WYBC.